All right, welcome to the Inside Cafe. I'm your host, 𝗛𝗏𝗹𝗹𝗹𝗓, and today, I have my dear friend who is right now in London, but originally from Kuwait, Abdul Binbader. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, my friend Nikon. Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this.
All right, so now I got to intro my man, Abdul. So, Abdul is a founder, he's a coach, he's a consultant, and he's a former professional athlete. Abdul has worked with incredible people from around the world, including entrepreneurs, executives, athletes, engineers, and artists. He has a real passion for bringing out the best in people, and Abdul is incredible at supporting people on their journey to bring to life their dreams and their goals. So, again, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And I wanted to invite you on today to talk about the topic of the joy of business and how to experience more joy in business. Because oftentimes we think about business as not anything but joy. It's one of those things like, oh, if I'm good enough at business, then I'll be happy and then I'll achieve success. But until then, it's shit. And
Mhm.
before we get into that topic, I want to hear the origin story of Abdul bin Bader. Like, how did Abdul become the Abdul today?
In my head, it sounds like a really long story, but I'm gonna kind of
Okay.
make it as short as possible. Um, Most of my years I've been in sports. Got into sports by accident. My mom was like, "You and your brothers need to learn how to swim, or else you'll sink." When we travel, and that took off into a career in swimming, and for over 20 years, um, at least. And during that, a lot of passion for personal development, like just on the personal side of things, just loved personal development. And after sports in 2014, I decided to go into business, started my own business, and kind of went around like it was a journey mixed between trying to figure out, you know, as if I was watching myself going through this, and what are the difficulties, what are the challenges, why is it this way, and as well as actually going through it. So um and during these years I've been always having conversations with a lot of friends and peers that looked like coaching, but I just never knew it was coaching. So you could say I started coaching way back, but officially in around 2020, right around when COVID hit, is when kind of life slowed down enough. I slowed down enough, and then I really kind of, um, by accident again, came across the idea of coaching, and I was surprised people, would get paid for that, and it seemed very natural for me because literally I read about it today. I had a conversation booked 3 days from that day. So I kind of just jumped into the conversation with that person. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this official, and I'm gonna start with this, and yeah, that's it. I mean, I've had a long experience being coached. You know, um, a lot of people don't know this when it comes to sports. The head coach isn't really coaching us around the sport only. The head
Yeah.
coach is wearing a lot of hats. He's the dad, he's the wise person, he's the person that picks you up when you're down, brings more out of you. And then there's that small bit when it comes to technicality in the actual sport. So to reverse the roles and to actually be the coach, it seemed natural for me.
Yeah, I'm really happy you shared that because that was my experience as a professional taekwondo player, in that the coach was there for you for like everything, not just the sport, like keeping you on track, helping you, helping you live through life and to to bring out the best in you, both on and off the field. And my experience in getting into coaching was very similar to yours because when I started my corporate career, I was surprised that they didn't have that. It was
Mhm.
weird to me. I was like, you guys don't have people who take care of you, help you bring out the best, because in the sport, like you need, like, you can't enter competition without one. They won't let you compete. And so I
Right.
was like, oh wait, they should have this too. And that's how I got into it. I was like, well, you guys would really like coaching because I really helped me as an athlete, like, and got out from there. And I'm happy you mentioned that in your story how you entered coaching both as a coach, like for professionally to help you, but also as a business. So I want to start off diving into that, which is our topic of the joy of business. So to me, we're returning to that premise of why is it that, like, even when people think about business, it's neither fun nor sexy when other things are. Like our sports can be fun or sexy, like they can be so much joy, bring us so much joy and satisfaction. But when I first started business just seemed to me like a thing I had to do to become successful, and then I could be happy or joyful. Like
Mm.
when I first started, it never looked like something that could be fun. It just looked like problems to solve. And I'd love for you to speak from that, and then we'll go from there.
All right. In kind of reflecting on this question, I thought that starting with my story with business would be a great place to start because it feels like I've been through the experience itself. So when I started my business in 2014, it was purely out of passion and inspiration. This is how it started. And I found a problem that I was facing. I wouldn't even say people were facing. And then I solved the problem for myself. And, surprisingly, turns out a lot of people actually, joined in and benefited from this solution. And it was all fun and creative, and I followed no rules whatsoever, to be honest. Like all the rules of business, sometimes they say ignorance is a bliss, and I feel like I had that ignorance at first, right? No 5-year plan, no 6 months worth of cash flow up front or any of that, and the business did really well. It took off, and then things got serious in my head, and then I wanted to, oh my God, I got to take this to the next level. And I have to grow. And I started reading books and I started taking courses and I, you know, started thinking about strategies and brought in a team with a lot of unnecessary expenses and overhead costs, not thinking what does actually my business need. And today I realized my business was the type of business that never needed that kind of thing, rented an office and headquarters. And so I think the first point in that is, once business takes on a responsibility other than being a creative um, outlet, it loses a lot of the fun. Once it's a thing to feed your insecurities, it's a thing that needs to secure your forever financial needs. It's something that needs to be proof of how smart you are, you know, how worthy you are in comparison to your peers in your society. This is when it's taking something that it was never meant to take.
Mm, that's incredibly insightful. Which brings me to the question of, if business wasn't meant to prove something, to feed your insecurities, then what is business meant for? I think we're speaking to the nature of business. What is the nature of business?
Mm. Well, I mean, and it's going to be a very simple technical kind of answer, which is, you're really exchanging, you know, you're offering something and people are paying you for, right? And I've seen two types of people approaching business.
Mhm.
Ones that are saying, you know what, I can't have my job anymore. I need to get out of this, and my way out is a business, and I got to
Mm,
start a business. And they don't come at it from like a solution, passion, inspiration perspective, but
mm,
this thing they need to build, this thing
right.
out there that they need to create, versus people who kind of step into business uh,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
or or are in business for 2 3 years and they've never really called it a business, right?
I've been guilty of that. I'm like, People are like, it's a business. I'm like, is it? I'm
Exactly.
like, I
And
guess.
I had a wonderful conversation with a client who actually had, had been through a similar thing where they started something from home and it really became successful. And it was, I think it was in the baking industry and the
Mm,
food and beverage industry. And it was an outlet for their love for food and flavors, and it really showed. It was delivered to people, and people can sense the passion of whoever is behind what's called the business, right? And again, they were influenced by the society. you know you you have to open up a place now, you have to expand, you have to do this and you have to do that, and suddenly every idea she brought forward wasn't really catching on,
mm.
right? And I'm not saying this is a rule, but statistically speaking, if your ideas come from a place of inspiration, you do much better, right? And so for another year and a half, she's been stuck in business. And all we did in our session is kind of take her back to, what if you just did it your way? What if it was just fun? And that made a lot of sense to her,
Mm.
and I guess it became fun again. Yeah.
And what was the result of her business becoming fun again?
Well, here's the thing. Um, One specific story was when it was too serious. She was making products that, it's all seasonal, and this season is coming up, and I got to prepare, a new collection of products for that season, and so on. And she would put the products out, and they wouldn't really catch on. When it was fun, she would come up with a product in March, and by Christmas time, that product makes a lot of sense for kind of Christmas season, and she would like put it out, and it would really catch on, and it would really become really successful. So there was a lot of creativity coming through, unattached to a time period or seasons or whatever, but things would just kind of fall in and make sense.
Let me, that's really cool. Let me add to that. So, given, I mean, for some people listening who'd be like, well, like, where their problems actually look real to them. Like, look, I only have 3 months of runway. Runway meaning I have cash for, I only have 3 months of cash left. I need to raise funds. I need to grow my company by X amount. And you're telling me to take this lightly and to be happy and go lucky. Like, like, how does that make sense? Like, what would you say to that?
Okay. That's
Like I have a
interesting.
real business here, Abdul. Like, how does this airy
Yeah,
fairy stuff relate to that?
right. Well, none of this is saying the this, things don't go down in business. Things
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
get
yeah.
difficult. But for them to get difficult in your head is
Mm,
different from simply showing up and responding to that, right?
mm,
Because it's a totally different effort to. So I've experienced this myself, taking things way too seriously beforehand versus, I acknowledge I only have 3 months of runway, and I'm gonna show up every day, and hopefully think of something will come up. At the same time, it's not the end of the world. It
yeah,
really isn't, without
yeah.
offending anyone.
I have a real life story that happened not too long ago. I have a Taekwondo franchise business, and we grew exponentially. We doubled our growth in 3 weeks. And just to give you context, like we went from a staff of like 4 to 5 to 12 in 2 weeks.
Wow.
We
Wow.
grew from 6 branches to 8, 9 in within 3 weeks. And of course, I'm looking at the teacher fees that I have to pay out to my instructors, right? And I think I had to come up with like $6,000, $7,000 or something within a couple of weeks. And I was looking at my bank account because I needed 10,000. I had like four in my account, and I was like, okay, I guess we'll see. Like we'll see. And within 2 weeks, like jobs came through or something else came through where the money just literally landed in my lap. And I was like, oh, cool.
Right.
And looking back,
Right.
stressing about it would have made me oblivious to these opportunities that were showing up for the money.
Right.
And
Yeah.
speaking to what you're speaking to is is that to answer the question is how can I enjoy my business? And the first to me, one of the first thing is firstly being aware that you're not enjoying your business. And two, stop taking the business and yourself so seriously. And I think that's what I'm hearing from you, right? Is noticing that you're not enjoying your business and noticing that there's a possibility to experience your business in a whole new way.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. I mean, it business is an expression of the founder of the business. That's how
Mm,
it looks to me. And the
mm,
moment it's no longer that is when the fun is gone, right?
mm,
The moment, and this is a concept me and Georgiana, my coach, spoke about today, which is once you're an employee
mm.
to other entrepreneurs' strategies and business, you're an employee even though you're a founder, because you're basically implementing 10 different businesses that you learned from others into your own business,
Right, right,
right?
right. Makes
and
sense.
and, and it's and it's really, you become an employee. And I'm not
Mm,
saying becoming an employee is not fun, but I guess that's not the goal when you
yeah,
start a business,
yeah, yeah.
right? So you lose a lot of the fun when you really take it way too seriously. And there's this notion that being at ease is being careless.
I've heard that today speaking to a founder. It's like, I can't be at ease. If I'm at ease, I'm going to be careless, but I need to be serious. I need to be on top of the ball. Otherwise, my co-founder won't take me seriously, or my investors will think I'm full of shit. What would
Right.
you say to that?
Well, if we talk from a perspective of just pure top performance, and I believe the industry, the segment of sports represents top performance at its best. It's really common sense when it comes to athletes that we shouldn't take things way too seriously when it comes to wanting to perform high, right? It's kind of the way to perform really highly, to be intelligently responsive, to pay attention, like athletes in all sorts of different sports and games. Um, the way they come up with these incredible, sudden moves or tricks or ideas is that they're not overly prepared, or they don't take it way too seriously. And once an
Yeah,
athlete does, they become stiff and performance drops, and then
yeah.
no one would want that, right?
I I'm gonna do a move, and I think this is every sports coach's universal move for chill out, and it's like, right, right. You know what I'm talking about? Like
Right.
no coach is ever going like,
Absolutely.
okay, like take this more seriously, go, go. But every coach is like, bring it down, like, right, right. Have you seen that one before? Like they just know
Absolutely.
when they know you're off your game, you look to like the sidelines, like just like chill, just bring it down. Like
Right.
every coach knows that move because they
Yeah,
all know when
absolutely.
you're off your game and you're taking this way too serious, like just like breathe, breathe, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I've tried all three different ones. I've tried being tense before races, and I didn't do so well. I sometimes thought being as ease was being careless, so I came to races completely, not caring about anything, and I
Yeah.
didn't do so good. But there's this part in the middle when you're like a loaded spring.
Mm.
You kind of you're calm on the outside, but you're like fully focused.
You're ready. So
You're ready.
just for context for people listening, you were a professional swimmer, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
People are
I was a
like
professional
Abdul out
swimmer,
there
and
running 100 meters. Like, no, he's swimming. He's swimming
yeah,
100 meters.
swimming. I don't know how many kilometers over my life, but yeah, I swam a lot in the pool, open water, done it all. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm loving the correlation between high performance athlete and being high performance in your business, and how the state of mind is almost identical, where you do want to be very present in loaded spring and not taking it so seriously that you're so wound up that you're not in tune with your who you really are, not in tune with your innate wisdom and potential.
Right. And to add on top of that, if you
Mm,
take from sports as well, all athletes find it very natural to bring forth their own style, right?
yeah, yeah.
We all want to have our own warm up before the race, our own move. So so your own originality and style is very adapted in sports. When
Mhm.
it comes to business,
Mm,
we really think we don't have that as well. We really think the answers are always somewhere else, in someone else's book, in someone else's strategy. And to me, the way it looks to me, that takes a lot of the possible fun we could have. You know,
right, right.
when you start doing business from within, right? Testing with your own ideas and approaching it with your own kind of strategies and exploring in way like a lot of different methods, even if it doesn't work out, it's really fun that you tried all of this and you learn a lot at the same
Mm.
time.
I was having a conversation with a venture builder. So, for context, a venture builder is someone who builds businesses for other people and then gives it
Mm,
back to them to run. And we were having this whole conversation around in Thai society where failure is really one of the worst things, failing and losing face and not knowing. And there's all this insecurity around the unknown, and how we were talking about how those are just about the worst things to build a business. Because those things are required, like they are a key part of creativity, of just figuring stuff out, trying stuff, failing, figuring stuff out, that whole creative process. And we realized as we were talking that we as venture builders, because I'm one too, like we really enjoy that process. We enjoy the clay. We enjoy the clay and molding and figuring out what it could be. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect, just has to work, MVP, minimal viable product, right? Like we
mm,
love that stuff. And other
right.
people, they don't enjoy that at all, right? Because there's all this stress and thinking about it. And so my question to you is, apart from taking your business and yourself way too seriously, what else gets in the way of someone's joy in business, of someone really seeing their business as an expression of creativity and joy and spontaneity? What else might get in the way of that to you?
Hmm. What else would take away other than taking yourself way too seriously? Um, I think this notion that business and growth.
Oh, yeah. What are the notions around growth?
You know, all businesses must grow, and if you're not growing, you're declining.
Right.
And yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's the case for everyone.
I remember there's a quote. I don't know who said it, but it said, if you're not growing, you're dead, or you're
Yeah.
dying. And I'm like, I don't know if that's true, bro. You know?
So yeah, I mean, again, I think this is one of it. It falls under the imagined image of what a business should be,
Mm,
right? And I think a business should be whatever you want it to be,
yeah. My job.
whatever that is, right? Whether it was um, a one person business, a small team business, an all like outsourced kind of business, or a huge office, a lot of employees kind of business, um, a six-figure business, a seven-figure business. So this idea that I used to kind of, you know, I wasn't so much with, which is kind of a lifestyle business, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to do a lifestyle business. That's just a lifestyle business. Listen, if it's not a lifestyle business, then honestly, because we think a lifestyle business means small,
Yeah.
that's no longer the case.
Yeah.
Today, you have seven, eight-figure businesses that are still run by one person.
Yeah.
That's possible today. So I
Yeah.
think um, not going with where you fit in your own business. What is it that you like to do on a daily basis, and sticking with that takes a lot of the fun away, right?
Yeah, I
Does
remember.
that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I remember when I started coaching business, I thought because everybody and their mother and their dog had a six-figure coaching business or some shit like that. Like, yeah.
Right.
and and like I
True.
was perpetually bummed out. I told myself, all right, if when I get there, then I can enjoy this business. And then I think our mutual teacher and mentor, Michael Neal, said to me, like, enjoy a four-figure business, like enjoy it, like really enjoy a four-figure business until it becomes five and six and seven, whatever, you know. And I kind of, when I first heard it, I was like, that's not how you do business, Michael. And then
Mm,
the longer I spent in the business, I realized that he's right, and that if you can't enjoy a four-figure business, you're never going to enjoy a five or six or whatever, because business wasn't made for you to make you happy.
mm,
Business is just made to solve people's problems. If the
mm,
moment your happiness becomes dependent on something you can't really control, like your business, you're going to have a hard time and you're going to take it way too seriously. And then since relaxing over the years, I've watched the business grow naturally and do really cool things. And now I have a small team and working with doing work I love. And I've really watched it grow naturally. And like I'm actually starting to really, really enjoy it, like in all the things I get to do. And now it doesn't, in a weird way, it doesn't matter to me if I ever get to six or seven because I really enjoy the business.
right. That makes a lot of sense. This is perfect because I think it raises a third point,
Mm,
which is another typical notion about business for people who are just starting out is, listen, you gotta suffer.
yeah, you
You
gotta
really gotta
suffer. You gotta
suffer,
suck. Yeah.
because it's all, there. It's all out there 6 years from now, 10 years from now, when you exit the company,
Yeah.
this is when you get to enjoy it, right? Don't enjoy it now, right? It's okay. It's suffer now, and then you see the people who actually get there and then realize it's no different.
Yeah.
I
And
understand
yeah.
the money is there, but really it's no different.
Yeah.
And then if you follow a lot of the stories, like I followed a lot of people who are not actual friends, but I just follow them and they exited companies. And I would say the majority,
Uh,
the business after that is something that they're really passionate about. It's something that they wanted to do this whole time. And if the time can go back, they would have started with that.
mm, I'm so happy we recorded that for people to listen to. Like you'll start with your passion project.
Right,
Right.
absolutely. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. And I guess that the personal reflection or checkpoint, one, if entrepreneurs are listening in, is, are you enjoying it now? And if you're not, you really should check in. You
Yeah,
should
check
really
in.
pause for a
Yeah,
second, because
pause.
it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
The whole notion that it's okay, you know, suffer, because at the end of the tunnel, which actually the end of the tunnel, statistically speaking, is not very common for a lot of people,
Yeah. Well,
right?
you know, what occurs to me in going back to the athlete metaphor, and people think like, wow, like Nikon, you train 3 hours a day, you know, six, seven, five, six days a week. Like that must be grind, like really hard. And I was like, I enjoyed every moment of that. Like I loved going to training and I love, you know, put on my pads, kicking stuff, kicking people, getting kicked. Like that was the highlight of my day. I really enjoyed that and I really do miss it. And looking back now, I think that's when I got really good at the sport, is when I really learned to enjoy that process. It no longer became, oh, okay, I'm going to training so I can get this medal. It was like, wow, like no, training is like the highlight of my day. And the medals are a cool byproduct of the thing I do every day. Like I get
Right.
rewarded for this. Like this is pretty cool, you know?
Let me ask
And
you this, Nikan.
yeah.
I bet you that a lot of what we call obstacles today, and people buy, say, courses
Mm,
to get over these obstacles. When you're passionate with your sport,
mm.
a lot of these obstacles did not look like obstacles, like something like failure. I bet you would, lose a fight and just kind of get up, and it's like, yeah, what fail? And that's not failure,
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
Did you experience that?
I mean, my sport was combat, so failure, like it physically hurt for a bit, like
Yeah.
get beat up. You do like meet the
Right.
top seed and he'd kick your ass, but it it didn't sting for as much because I just was so used to it. I was like, oh, failure, cool. Like, and the coach was like, okay, cool, see you Monday. I'm like, yeah, I'll see you Monday, coach. Like, we're gonna work on like how you messed up today. I'm like, okay, and similar going back to having the coach, when he would see that I was holding on to this, of like it was like a big match, like a national Olympics, national championships, and he would just, I guess we'll come back next year. I'm like,
Mm,
all right, we'll come back next year. It wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't, blah blah. Like it was. We didn't. He took the seriousness out of it, and having someone
mm,
help me do that was so helpful.
right.
I'm not sure if
I
that
mean,
answered your question. Yeah.
no, definitely, and I have the exact same experience. People used to tell me that that weren't in the sport. You train all year to race for 60 seconds, and then you lose and train another year.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
And
man.
I'm always like, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
what else would I do, right? And we could easily mistake this as, oh wow, he has willpower, or maybe over motivated or whatever. And I think
mm,
the point I'm delivering is, when you're working with passion, a lot of these things are not even necessary.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Willpower or whatever, because
Yeah.
failure doesn't even look like failure,
No. Looks like,
right?
yeah, like another
A
Tuesday.
lot of these labels, they fall down and something else replaces them.
Mm, hmm.
Right?
So one of my questions for you is, I wonder what becomes available to someone in business or someone who's running a business when they really learn to come from joy. Like what things become unlocked or what becomes available in
Mm.
your experience or to your knowing.
Well, the first thing that came to mind is creativity. You
Mm,
would be super surprised of how creative you are once you
yeah,
come from this joyful place, from this place of trial and error. You discover that you have in you what that person who wrote the book has in them. You
yeah,
you have that available for you. Like, you can literally come up with ideas and strategies that 6 months from now people would kind of clap and they're like, wow, look at what he did, how
yeah.
genius it is, how smart it is. So that's the first thing, creativity, definitely
Creativity.
creativity. Yeah.
Um,
The other
mm,
one is just how resilient
mm,
you become.
mm.
It's really hard to knock you down.
Yeah, and one of the things to not, I think like we think about creativity and I think we're like, okay, cool, you're creative. But you as a founder, as an entrepreneur, your creativity is worth millions and millions of dollars.
Absolutely.
Because you know that one, like I think somebody said something to the effect of you only need to be right once.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, yeah. And to
And
expand on creativity, Nikon, because creativity is easily understood today as um, design,
yeah,
art, um,
yeah. Art, design. Okay, you
products,
can draw good, Well, yeah,
right? But creativity is that famous story of a CEO who, in very difficult economic times, came up with this idea of, um, instead of laying off people and firing them, 2,000, 3,000 people, he brought everyone in and kind of told them willingly, if you're willing to take an unpaid week off, and if we kind of just rally around everyone, we don't have to fire anyone and we could save millions of dollars for the business. That's a creative solution.
right.
So creativity is in solutions and strategies, and how to deal with a specific employee that might be difficult, in difficult conversations, when to remain silent, when not. I mean,
You
it's
know,
really endless.
um, I'm watching you do diagrams in your email list. So
Yeah.
I have a diagram. There's some kind of graph we just came up with. Is like the more serious you take it, the less creative the less creative your ability becomes. There's some kind of like you know what I mean, a directly proportional graph there.
Yeah.
And That's pretty cool. Like the more, yeah, the less serious you take it, the more creative you are.
The
The
more
more,
creative.
yeah, like yeah, the less
And
serious, the
that's
more
natural in
creative.
econ, right?
It is
It's really natural because when you take it really seriously, you're the world you're looking at gets a lot smaller,
very small, right? Right.
right? And that restricts the kind of ideas you can come up with.
And I just realized a cool premise because some people would ask me, like, what do you do for executives and founders? I'm like, and one of the things I tell people, like, I help them be more creative. And they look at me like, how is that worth any money? Like, who cares? And I said, well, depending on, or it's not depending on, well, like the more creative a business, someone in business is, the more money they're gonna make
Mhm.
over 5, 6, 7, like over infinity years, however long, right? And because that's their juice, right? That's the more creative they become in like the more service they can provide. Like, it's just what I see. It's one of those things where the more joy you can come from in your business, the more creative you are, the more resilient you are, the more successful you will naturally be. Successful will become a natural byproduct of you simply being in your business in a way that is joyful, creative, and resilient. And I wonder,
Absolutely.
what do you have to add on to that or say to that?
It's to me the thing that came to mind is it's worth all the money.
It's worth all the money. It is.
Every entrepreneur that I've been in conversation with aims to be as original as they can,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They want to be remembered for how they ran their company, for the solutions they provided for the people, the impact they provided. And all of these words are just different descriptions of what creativity is.
I've been speaking to, I've had the very fortunate privilege of speaking to a lot of very successful founders who are doing like 8 figures, who like 20, $30 million a year. And this one particular founder said something to me very impactful. She said, like, I could build $1 billion company, but who gives a shit? What's important to me is helping other people, helping my people build $1 billion companies because I think that's really cool. And I was
Mm.
like, that is really cool. Like, you've learned how to play the game and trying to teach other people how to play the game. And for me, just how creative that is. And I think one thing I've noticed is too, when people learn to come from joy in their business, they want to give more. They're more generous. They're kinder. They're more gentler. Like, it just makes more sense to be of service. And I've really noticed that across the board. And I wonder if you've noticed, or what have you noticed in that sense? What have you noticed about people who are coming from joy in their business?
Oh wow. I mean, one thing that I've noticed is
Mm,
a lot of what entrepreneurs who are not coming from joy, a lot of the things that they battle, such as managing time,
I
burnout, and all
know.
of that, it doesn't exist when it comes to people
Yeah, yeah.
who
Isn't that
are
interesting?
coming
Like,
from joy.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it seems, and not because it doesn't exist in the sense, it's because their natural compass
yeah,
that could easily navigate all of this, that could
yeah,
easily, take care of all of this, is so in tune, is so present in
yeah.
them that to a point you would be surprised that they run $100 million business. You'd be like, "What?
Like
You
this
seem
guy?
like you have
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of time.
exactly, exactly.
It looks like you don't know what you're doing.
Doing.
You're swinging it. What's going on?"
On, yeah,
And and then once you take a glimpse of that, and you take a glimpse of this possibility, honestly, I think what it really comes down to when it comes to how big you want to build a
yeah,
business, the $1 billion or not, is
yeah,
really, is it a $20 million business with a lot of fun, or a
yeah,
$1 billion business? And and this is not saying you can't build a
yeah,
$1 billion
yeah,
business having it fun, but we're just saying that once you follow fun, you could end up anywhere,
yeah. Like, I love
and
that.
anywhere would be fun.
Yeah, anywhere would be fun. Anywhere. So we're coming up on our last question, and we're coming up on time. So my last question I ask every guest is, if you were to give a gift to the world, and it could be a knowing, a perspective, pointing, what would that gift be?
Oh wow. I mean, the answer seems really easy in my head. I would really, because I've wondered about this question
Hmm.
thinking about my daughters. I did this one thing a few months ago where I decided to write letters for my daughters. They're young, but that they would grow old and read those letters. And in those letters is like the best wisdom I could put on it.
Yeah.
And it started with a lot of points, and then it just came down to one thing. Like I erased everything else, which was I would want them to wake up to who they really are, to
Mm,
the infinite possibility that lies in them.
mm,
That they're really an engine of of source, right?
yeah.
Like things do come from you as a person, and once you realize that, that takes care of your life.
Yeah.
You just don't have to worry about your life
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, thank you for that. I felt every word of that. And I hope too that everybody listening will wake up to their true self and their true nature and be a vehicle of source. And something occurs to me that one of my coaches told me, 𝗛𝗲𝗹𝗹𝐺𝗔𝗛𝗛, and he said, let life hold you. Let
Mm.
life hold you. And it's incredible when you do let life hold you and the things that unfold and come from the things, so much things you don't have to worry about because you're letting life take care of you. And yeah, thank you again for this wonderful and powerful conversation. I know everybody listening is going to get so much, so much out of it.
Thank you,
And
Nikon. Thank you so much for doing everything.
yeah. And lastly, where can we hang out with you? Where if someone wants to work with you or they want to have a conversation, where's the best place to do that?
I mean, on my website, honestly, I don't know
Okay,
if
I'll
you're
put the links in
gonna,
the description.
yeah,
Okay.
but whether what the best way that you could learn more about whatever I
Mhm.
talk about is through my newsletter. It's on the website, or even just to connect to have a conversation. It all starts with a powerful conversation.
Great newsletter. I'm a big fan of the newsletters.
Thank you,
And
Nikon. I appreciate
and
that.
I've developed the ability where when you write in Arabic, I don't know what it's written. I don't know what's written, but it's probably cool. So
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. The
That's been,
feeling in
yeah.
the words is there. I was like, I don't know what's written, but I know it's good.
I appreciate that, Nikon. Thank you so much.
All right, so I'm going to stop recording. This was lovely. Thank you, everybody, and tune in for the next episode. All right, bye.